Hello, my name is Mark Aldrich. I am the Executive Director of the Clark Forum for Contemporary Issues, and this is Poetry 2+1. Our guest today is Lynne Reeder, a poet from Duncannon, Pennsylvania, in Perry County in Pennsylvania. Lynne is also, in addition to being a poet, a high school English and creative writing teacher at West Perry High School. Lynne has published 2 collections of poetry, Featherstone, a chapbook that is available on Amazon, and The Wilted Ones, which also includes some journal type writing, and as I understand it, can be very helpful for writers in the writing process. That is also available on Amazon. She has also had her poems published in different anthologies and different online poetry journals. Lynne, thank you so much for joining us on Poetry 2+1.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, it's great to be here. So we're, I think, ready to listen to you and your poetry. So it's all yours.
Okay. So I felt like I needed to have some sort of theme for this, even though I know we didn't need to. That's just the teacher in me, I suppose. So the 2 poems of my own I've selected are both about my grandmother. And then my 3rd poem, the one I will read by someone else, which is Walt Whitman, has to do with her for me as well. So the first one that I have here for you was an example of something I've written that I've had some publishing success with. So it was originally published in an anthology by The Soapbox, and then it's also included in the Wilted Ones poetry book that you had mentioned. And this was right after my grandmother died, and anybody who knows me knows that she was extremely important to me in my life and one of my biggest inspirations. I often refer to her as the first great love of my life. So this is about the experience of losing somebody that important to you. And it's called Dirges, O Grandmother. Her hands undid me, the way they were folded there just so, one finger meticulously placed above the mort cloth, as if she had plucked it over her legs herself after crawling into the casket. Those hands that had snapped bedsheets to attention and created hospital corners each morning she lived because her mother had taught her a bed isn't properly made without hospital corners. And I wonder if they've tucked the edges beneath her the right way, first the bottom taut and flat, then the sides creased and straightened, followed by excess gathered and tamed, until the only sign that sheet wasn't the mattress itself, was the line across each bottom corner straight as a dash upon a tombstone. And I can't help but think it seems they've smoothed out her wrinkles the way she patted out her pillows, because I know those hands held folds no longer visible beneath layers of makeup meant to make her beautiful. But don't they know? What made her beautiful were the nicotine stains in her creases, and the gathering of lines across the lengths of her fingers, and the liver spots pooling like sweet tea syrup down the sides of her arms. For what is there to say of life, but that we are no more or less than the weathering of our skin? So when I reached out and placed my palm against those hands that had shaped apple dumplings and skimmed book pages and planted portulacas alongside mine, is it any wonder I thought of hospital corners, when what I'd known had been so scrubbed and sterilized and turned to stone that there was nothing left to do but bury her beneath one.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, and then the second poem, also about her, is one that I've written more recently. Like most creative people, I think, during this quarantine and social distancing situation, have been trying to probably use the time to, further create some art, because I think art is a large part of what's getting us all through. So I actually wrote this a little before this time started, but it just sort of represents to me the processing of emotion that I think has naturally come out of this time. Grief being one of the main things. So this one is called Roots. Flowerbed soil lines my fingernails. I shed gloves while she lights a cigarette. She rattles at me, half-hearted attempt to protect me by insisting I protect my hands, but I don't listen. I need a better grip. I need to feel what it is I hold, even if it hurts. I cut the dead stems as her smoke curls to the sky. As her ice melts in her cup, the oversized plastic mug sitting on the edge of my childhood, my adolescence, the store logo printed on front fading with every washing. She stirs her straw, slow, sun glancing off her shoulders. I dig out spring onions white as her hair, dirt on my knees, tan bark imprints. Side of her house, mid-afternoon, methodical movements tracing the warmth of rays, the waning of the day. My time. Where did it go? That burning, that cultivation. She takes a drag, leans against the rust of her wagon, green paint chipping, yellow handle like nicotine smudges. We'll leave it there, abandoned midfill, go inside, settle against the veneered wood of a kitchen table that taught her who she is, wife, mother, grandmother. Feed them, to love them. Potato soup, hand chopped and simmered. Sweet Lebanon bologna sandwiches. Supplies bought that week because she knew I would be there. We roll the slices up, sneaking this taste on the tongue as we assemble lunch, as she apologizes for not having more. I string the word sorry from my own mouth, a constant monument to her, thrown around everyone I love. She shows me to crush chips inside the bread, crunch it all together, the best things even better when in the same space. She pours me tea syrup in a Princess House glass, tall and etched with flowers. The ice clinks, cold. She opens a straw because she never drinks tea with lips against cup. Don't discolor that smile, sweet girl. I clench the thin plastic between my teeth and sip amber deep. Every summer, I'll stretch myself out, forget the suntan lotion, make myself tea brewed, my skin evidence she existed. Coat my legs with grass stains, dig out what tries to overtake my orange azalea, the fragile phoenix she bought me, the one my shears never touch. When it sheds petals, they curl like cigarette smoke.
Wonderful.
Okay. And then this last one is by Walt Whitman, titled Oh Me, Oh Life. And Walt is someone I admire as a teacher because I teach American literature, so I get to teach him to my students, which is a treat. And also as a poet, you know, he's the father of free verse, and that's mostly what I write. And just the way he puts thoughts together has always resounded in me. So whenever I have experienced loss in my life, and definitely when I lost my grandmother, this poem is one that I really turn to sort of find that comfort and that sense of something larger than myself to sort of, you know, try to wrap my brain around what life is after experiencing the things that we do. And I think this one's really relevant to now too, with the way that many people are feeling. So I know some people are really processing this time as needed for that, you know, distance and that self-reflection. Some people do well with this, and then others who might be more like me really struggle with that loss of interpersonal energy, you know. So it can kind of feel a little bleak at times, but I think this hopefully will speak to people about that. So Oh Me, Oh Life by Walt Whitman. Oh me, oh life, of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, of myself forever reproaching myself. For who more foolish than I, and who more faithless? Of eyes that vainly crave the light, of the objects mean, of the struggle ever renewed, of the poor results of all, of the plodding and sordid crowds I see around me, of the empty and useless years of the rest, with the rest me intertwined, the question, oh me, so sad recurring. What good amid these, oh me, oh life? Answer, that you are here, that life exists an identity, that the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was really well chosen, Lynn. It's been really a pleasure having you on Poetry 2+1, and we look forward to hearing and reading more of your poetry in the future.
Thank you so much. It was definitely a nice break from my monotonous routine.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.